This is our America, a proud nation with proud people. But in the mix are the enemy's hound dogs, disguised as our very own. He could be your friend, your wife, or even the neighborhood dog. So be on the lookout for these dastardly evildoers. And don't forget, buy war bonds. Lots and lots and lots of war bonds. And join the army. We need that too.
On May 7, 1915, a German submarine sank the Lusitania, an American ship killing 128 Americans. Because Germany had warned the Allied ships from sailing, many believed the attack was premeditated. During the course of the war, German and Austrian agents performed 50 attacks like this on American soil. After the war, this prompted the question, is all fair in war? Before and during the course of the war, the United States continued advancing their intelligence and investigative services, but the country's neutral position and mindset of isolationism prevented them from dominating the field until they entered the war in 1917. World War I forced most intelligence agencies to evolve to better combat the progressing battlefield and technological enhancements, thus revising the nature of war. Of all the nations involved with World War I, Germany possessed the most sophisticated intelligence agency. Germany trained special agents to conduct acts of sabotage on American soil. International rules declared the United States neutral, thus limiting Germany's attacks against the U.S. They still found ways to provoke the U.S. though, for example the Black Tom explosion. Black Tom Pier was located across the harbor from Ellis Island and the Statue of Liberty. The shore it was on was crowded with warehouses, loading docks, and train tracks. After the outbreak of war, this pier increased its activity for the war effort, thus goading Germany to attack. German agents smuggled charges onto boats near the pier and bribed workers to light the fuse. On July 29, 1916 at 2:08 a.m., a thunderous explosion decimated the pier. After the war, a special convention convened to assess the incidences of terrorism in the U.S. The Black Tom explosion was reviewed as foul play on the part of the Germans, thus proving that Germany participated in a total war. A total war is defined as not only targeting an enemy's armed forces, but also their economy, morale, and society. Germany's inhumane acts of terrorism, including targeting ships and submarines carrying civilians without warning, prove that Germany did this. But it is whether or not the U.S. drew to this level as well that interests us. What were the U.S.'s actions? For the beginning of the war, the U.S. remained essentially out. They were technically deemed neutral, but they began manufacturing and sharing weapons with France and Britain. It wasn't until their entrance into the war in 1917 that their support for the Allied powers became official. Their advancing communications intelligence and cryptology units helped the United States to decipher codes and added a new facet to total war. Espionage like this prompted the United States to enter the war. When they decrypted the Zimmermann telegram, a plea from the Germans to have Mexico attack the United States, it was evident that the U.S. needed to enter the war. Another facet of total war was the usage of poisonous gases. Both sides of the conflict used agents to spy on weapons, particularly involving chemical warfare. For the most part, the United States was a target in the submarine warfare. The consistent attack by unauthorized German submarines convinced the USA to enter in the war. German U-boats were used for the sole purpose of sinking supply ships to Britain. Also, President Woodrow Wilson wanted to promote global democracy and used the sinking of the Lusitania to enter the war. This pivotal event prompted the U.S. to join the war, thus tipping the balance between the powers. In conclusion, compared to the actions of the other countries, specifically Germany, the United States did not partake in a total war. Though they were heavily involved in the war, the term total war cannot be applied as they did not directly attack the economies, morale, and societies of the Central Powers.
cola by chance? Hello, yes, thank you for having me on the show today. I'm here speaking to you on behalf of the German people. I realize that I no longer have a German accent. I lived for 3 or 4 years in England where I learned English and dropped all of my German accent as much as possible. When I immigrated to the United States, I wanted to become an American. I wanted to speak English just as well as anyone else. But I learned English and now here I am sitting here before you today. But I'm here to plead with you on behalf of all the German people living here in America. Today, German people living in America are very stressed. There are many things and many people that harass them daily. All kinds of people and all kinds of ideas that dictate that they are bad just because the Kaiser in Germany has decided to make war. I personally have no control over the Kaiser in Germany. I have no control over what he does, his actions, or his army. I only have control over myself. And so I'm here to present myself to you, the American people, and to plead with you to give Germans here in America a chance. Just that, a chance. A chance to be free, just like you. One thing that's making it very difficult for Germans to live here in America is a fear of all things German. Here I am, a German-born citizen, having to move along as an American, not only because I want to be an American, but because I live in fear of being recognized as being a German. If I was to be recognized as being German, I might be captured or beaten, or harassed in some way. The other day I went down to my favorite hamburger stand on Main Street, and there I asked the man, "Why does I have a hamburger, please?" And he said, "There are no such things as hamburgers anymore, sir. They're now called Liberty Steaks." I said, "They've been called hamburgers for years. Why has this name suddenly been changed?" His reply, "They're dirty German inventions. Americans eat Liberty Steaks." Of course, I see his logic. I can understand. Liberty Steak, obviously American, not German, that's fine. So when I asked the man, might I have some sauerkraut on top? He said, "No, there is no such thing as sauerkraut anymore, only Liberty cabbage." This was the final straw. I walked away from the hamburger stand and refused to order anything. I'm as patriotic as anyone, but I believe that this is taking patriotism too far. What has the government done to protect people of German birth? I could be beaten out in the streets today. No one would care. No one in the government cares for me. But I will tell you this as well. The government, the president, all of them are out to get us in some way, we, the German Americans. Just the other day, I noticed a propaganda poster. The propaganda poster proclaimed, "Hang the Kaiser, the Germans, the dirty Huns," all sorts of nasty things. The President Wilson, has hired a man named George Creel to come on to head up the propaganda wing of his government. Well, this man, George Creel, is quite a character. He does very good work. Too good. Makes us Germans out to be these terrible, dirty brutes. As if we go about killing people and shaking things and stomping little things to bits. Well, we don't do that sort of thing. We're Germans. We just are who we are. I ask you, here in America, are you not innocent until proven guilty anymore? As a German, do I no longer have this right? Apparently not. Not in America in wartime. Everywhere one goes, one sees these posters. Plastered on every wall, on every building, in every village. One can go nowhere without seeing these posters, these blasted posters, painting us in these terrible lights. As an immigrant, I can also tell you that other immigrants are not happy either. Many immigrants, Irish, German, Hungarian, Austrian, you name it. All of these different immigrants sympathize with the Germans. They sympathize with the poor Europeans fighting in a war. And here America proclaims that they are neutral when in fact they help the Allies, the French and the Russian and the British especially. I cannot understand it. Why can they say that they're neutral when really they are not? It's a fraud, I tell you. Sorry, one must be suspicious these days. one never knows when might be attacked. It's a sad, sad thing, I tell you. My friend Heinrich just the other day was arrested for being a traitor, a spy. His American captors, the police, arrested him and said that he was a suspect in a bombing of a factory. I cannot believe it. Heinrich, my friend, is a gentle soul. I cannot believe that he, a German, would be arrested just because he's a German with no real evidence. The government is going crazy, I tell you. Who are you?
Yeah, I thought you was gonna get away with it. Come here. Sauerkraut,
I'm not a traitor.
Come on.
I'm not a spy.
Oh, shut it.
What are you doing?
Let's go.